How's that for a title? Learning how not to polish a car. And you say, but wait, Darren, I want to learn how to polish a car. Do you? Why do you want to learn how to polish a car? Are you wanting to polish your car? Or are you wanting to polish a customer's car because you have an auto detailing business? Wait, don't you have to know how to polish a car in order to start an auto detailing business? Well, the simple answer is no, you don't. I didn't. I talked to many guys that don't, but yet started their own detailing business. In fact, let me set up a little context for you. I was on Facebook. Anyhow, I was on Facebook. I saw a random post posted by a girl who had her own detailing business. She was looking for help. How to polish a car. Help me learn how to polish a car like a pro. Okay, well, me being the voice of reason that I am, I chimed in and I said, maybe the better question would be this: how to learn not to polish a car. But wait, Darren, I want to learn how to polish a car. Once again, why? Well, because that's just how it works, right? You have a business, detailing, you have to learn how to polish a car eventually. But do you? Maybe the better question would be how to learn how to not polish a car. Darren, that doesn't even make sense to me. I already know how to not polish a car, which is why I'm asking how to polish a car. I need to learn how to polish a car. Well, I would say that maybe the smarter question, because it's not a good or a bad question, they could be either, but maybe the smarter question would be, how do I learn how to not polish a car? Now, I know many of you, especially if you're a beginner, are thinking to yourself, that doesn't even make sense. My brain is confused, Darren. You are confusing me. Well, this is all about working smarter, not harder. I know it's a cliche. I know it's a stereotype. I know it's a trope, but it's all those things for a reason, because it's important, it's valid, it's relevant. Working smarter, not working harder. One of the many things that you will learn, yes, I'm going to do a little self-promotion here, in my course. Yes, I'm going to teach you stuff that I learned and I developed. Not only did I develop them, but I innovated them. For example, I was having a conversation with Nick. And Nick, if you're watching, welcome. Now, Nick has been at it about a year and a half. He got his training from Luke. He bought Luke Wilson's course, which is pretty good. But it's not what I would call smart. You know what the smarter way is? The smarter way, in my opinion, is how to not polish a car. Meaning, how do you get away with not polishing a car? Eventually, at some point, you got to learn how to polish a car, Darren, which is my conversation with Nick. And Nick was perplexed. I said, hey, dude, by the way, what if I told you that I talked people out of polishing their car? And typically the response I get after that is, why would you do that, Darren? Of course you want to polish your car. That means more money. It's like, well, let me introduce you to smart. Just because you're making more money does not mean you're more profitable. There is a huge difference. One of the many things you have to learn as a business owner, there's a difference between making more money and being profitable. You would say, well, aren't those the same thing? I would say, yes, if you're a beginner, because you have oversimplified a subject. So just because, for example, let's say you charge $600 to do a full detail plus a one-stage polishing job. Great. But let's say it took you 8 hours to do it. And now you did the math, whatever that is. Don't make me do it in the moment, but you can do the math and you're like, okay, cool, thumbs up. Look at what I made. There's my profit margin. That's how profitable I was. But let's say I told you that I could charge $350, detail the car in 3 hours, and I make more per hour. So my hourly rate has changed. My hourly rate is more. So overall, I rolled away with less money, but overall, I rolled away with being more profitable because my hourly rate was greater, larger. I increased my hourly rate, which then would lead me to, okay, now I can do 2 details in a day instead of 1 full detail and 1 polished job. And I'm now more profitable times 2. So that's what I would call working smarter, not harder. Yes, you can work hard all day long, and honestly, that's what polishing is. It is a lot more stress. It's a lot more work. It's a lot more labor on your body. It's a lot more of everything. Sure, if you know how to polish, then go for it. But the more important question is, do you know how to polish and do you know how to price accordingly? See, the problem is this. Most customers don't even understand what detailing is. Like literally, they just don't know. They can identify a car that's been cleaned and detailed and they can say, oh, I want that. But they have no idea how much work and effort goes into starting from point A, starting point, to point B, ending point. They just don't know. They can recognize it, but they don't know what goes into it. Well, imagine that, which, okay, do that, imagine that. They just don't know. There's a huge disconnect. But you know where there's a greater disconnect? That is when it comes to polishing, because most people do not know what highly polished paint looks like. They don't even know what to look for because they have an untrained eye. Now, if they don't know what to look for, they have an untrained eye, they really can't discern the difference between shiny paint versus highly polished paint, corrected paint, then guess what they can't do? They can't place a value on it. So that means that when you come in and you assign a big fat price tag to it so that you can remain profitable by polishing their paint, they're not going to value it. In fact, they're going to go into shock. It's like, what? Are you kidding? That's what you charge? Hell no, I'm moving on. Because they're ignorant. They don't know what they don't know. They have an undeveloped eye. They don't know how to tell the difference. And if they don't know all those things, which they don't, then they're not going to be able to assign an appropriate value to it, which is why I learned, you know what? Why break myself against the rocks? Why spend so much time and energy trying to educate my customer, which, yeah, ironically is coming from me because I actually enjoy that process to a point. Okay, I like to educate a customer because I'm of the opinion that a educated and informed customer makes a better customer. But when it comes to paint, that's such a different talk track and it gets so expansive and long and tiresome where I literally feel like I'm trying to talk them into something. Now, if you're trying to talk someone into something, there's already a problem. You already start at a disadvantage. And to overcome that hurdle, it's going to take a lot of talking, a lot of educating, which you're going to have to work into the price or into your time because time is money, which is going to eat away your profit margin if you're not charging for that additional learning curve that you have to do in order to just polish the car. So then to circle back around, the question or the smarter question might be this: how do I learn not to polish a car? Or more precisely, how do I learn how to not polish a car? How do I learn how to talk to my customer and talk them out of having their car polished? And now you would say, once again, why would I do that, Darren? It's like, well, if you want to be profitable as a business owner, that's why. And you say, but polishing is cool. Polishing is glamorous. I know. That's what the industry wants you to think. I know. That's what all those so-called experts on YouTube want you to think. I know. Everyone hypes it up. Everyone glamorizes it. It's cool. Let's talk about my new buffer. Let's talk about my new polish compounds and my polishes, and then I can apply a ceramic coating, and it's just cool. It's like, well, do that about 20 times, and you'll realize just how uncool it is. You'll realize just how much work it is. You'll be like, oh my God, this is so much work, which is what I had to learn the hard way. It's like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of work. I'm having to do so much effort initially to teach my customer and to show them, and that's literally how I would sell my polished jobs, is I would show them. They'd be like, oh hell, that's exactly what I want. But then I would come around and slap them with a big fat price tag, and suddenly it's like, oh, maybe I don't want that after all, Darren. It's like, yeah, exactly. Which I'm not going to tell you my secret and how to talk to people and how to position it in a way that makes sense to them, and then position myself out of polishing their car, which then position me into being more profitable by not polishing your car or their car, which then to come full circle would then be how to learn how to not polish a car. So that becomes the smarter question. Hey, Darren, teach me how to not polish a car versus, hey, Darren, teach me how to polish a car like a pro. Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't have its place. It doesn't mean I didn't have customers that were willing to pay, well, over $100 an hour so I could polish a car. But most of you will not be able to do that. Most markets in the world will not support that. Yes, there's plenty of markets that do. Yes, I'm oversimplifying it to a degree. There's someone that's going to chime in here and say, oh, dude, I can do that. I live in Dubai, or I live in Chicago, or I live in New York, and I get $100+ an hour all day long to polish a car. It's like, well, do you? How would you even prove that? I don't know. What I'm telling you is that first off, you don't need to know how to polish a car to start your business. Secondly, you don't ever have to actually learn how to polish a car if you don't want to. Thirdly, if you do want to, then learn it. Fourthly, if you're going to polish a car, you sure as hell better make sure you're profitable at doing it, because it is a lot of work. It's added stress, it's added materials, it's just added work, and it's hard work. And customers have expectations. So if you don't know how to manage those expectations, if you don't know how to assign a proper price to it so that you can be profitable, then why overthink it? Maybe, once again, the smarter question is, hey, Darren, can you teach me how not to polish a car? And perhaps teach me how to never have to polish again in my life? How's that? And anytime you want to polish a car, then do it. But just accept that chances are, unless you know how to talk to a customer and present yourself as a true expert, you've got to accept that your profit margin is suddenly going to go from this to that. But hey, it's your business, it's your world, you can do what you want. I'm just trying to apply a voice of reason. With that, I will leave you with that, and I hope I have expanded your mind, and I will see you on the next video.